Yeah. There was one more question I wanted to take, if that's okay.
Yeah, I think this is probably good for the wrap up.
Okay. I like this question asked Monster Pop in terms of Reign of Terror. Who had it worse, Triple H or Jeff Jarrett? I really like that question. I have a lot to say, but I'll let you guys go first.
So I'm not 100% familiar with Jeff Jarrett's reign of terror. I know that it was a lot, and he wore the title a lot, and he was kind of like booking himself a lot, and but I'm much more familiar with Triple H's reign of terror. What was it, like 2002,
2 through 3, I think, or
yeah,
through 5, I think is usually when.
2003 to 2005, when like Batista finally took it off of him, took the belt off of him, and uh yeah, it was just Raw was just something that didn't pique my interest because it was always the Triple H show. So I to find an alternative went to SmackDown, and I watched a lot of SmackDown. um as far as Jeff Jarrett, I just knew that he was kind of synonymous with the NWA title for a very long time, and I feel like maybe Jarrett's was worse because I feel like it was it longer. I feel like it was longer than like the 3 years that that Triple H was champ on and off for ever. Um, but yeah, I'm much more familiar with Triple H coming out with the World Heavyweight Championship around his waist and beating everyone up and ruining Kane's Intercontinental title uh run.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I have perhaps a slightly more charitable view of Triple H, but that being said, there's some of those feuds during the Reign of Terror that, like, just aren't inexcusable. I mean, bringing up Kane, you have the infamous, angle with the, raping the mannequin in the coffin or whatever. Just all that stuff. What was
I wouldn't put a lot of that on Triple H though.
Fair
That's
enough.
all that's going to be Vince McMahon and the booking.
Fair enough, but it does.
He didn't
taint
have the
the reign.
power. Yeah, it does taint the reign, and it doesn't paint. I mean, it doesn't. I just don't put it on his shoulders. I think a lot of like we remember it as something being very negative, but I also can't think of who else would have been better as champion at the time. I think that you could make an argument that Kane could have been champion for a bit
Sure.
there. There are some people that maybe could seem buried, but I didn't want somebody like Batista as champion. He sucks, and like
And that's what you
that's
got.
the thing. Yeah, I know, and that's the thing. It's I don't want those. I didn't want those guys to be champion. I didn't like where WWE was going with these like musclehead, ex football players or bodybuilders. I didn't like where it was going, or a John Cena, or where it ended up. I didn't like it. And Triple H is a very good old school wrestler. And I look back on that reign and I'm like, I'm kind of glad in some of these spots Triple H was champion that entire time.
Yeah, I think
And they
that's,
call it the Reign of Terror really came from the shitty booking as opposed to being Triple H's Reign of Terror. And I kind of feel that way about Jeff Jarrett's Reign of Terror. I don't think it like I look back on Jeff Jarrett and realize how good he was. Like as a more mature fan, I realize now how good he actually was. I don't remember a lot of times where Jeff Jarrett won and it felt like he buried somebody new, but he was bringing people up. Like he was doing stuff for like AJ Styles coming up and stuff like that. But Jarrett kind of did it out of necessity. They were building a new company and
there's a
he was
bad
carrying
impression though because it was
Yeah.
his company.
It was, yeah, and it was his company, and I think that it's way more complicated than that. I think like he had to carry the company at the time, and this was before they had somebody like Christian Cage. This is like maybe you could say, oh well, they had like a Scott Hall or something like that. Well, if Scott Hall would ever show up when he wasn't fucking drunk or something, like then maybe yeah, it could have been Scott Hall. But Jeff Jarrett did it out of necessity because he could trust Jeff Jarrett because it's him. He was actually very good and he actually cared about building people. Ultimately, it just took time. It really just took time. And I think that his reign of terror was just out of necessity. And I look back on those days and I'm like, Jeff Jarrett was really good. And Triple H, really good. And I think that was just really his shitty booking. So as far as the worst, I'd say it was WWE because they were just doing way more like just bad stuff. TNA was really good at the time, despite all that stuff. because we still got really good shit in the company. As much as he was booking himself as champion, he was also booking Kurt Angle versus Samoa fucking Joe. You know, he was also bringing in people like Austin Aries and Roderick Strong, guys from the indies, like they should have been. They were building up guys. CM Punk, they brought in CM Punk, Raven. They were bringing in like good fucking wrestlers. Sanjay Dutt. You know, they had innovative ideas, not just with the 6-sided ring, but they had innovative ideas like the X Division. And I always thought that WWE was fucking up by doing 205 Live. Why make it about the weight limit? Why not do what TNA's doing and make it about no limits? Like big guys, like the reason why it wasn't special is because everybody can work that cruiserweight style these days. Like Seth Rollins is doing things that those 205 guys are doing. So why make it about weight limits? Why not have a guy like Keith Lee go down to go down to the cruiserweight division or whatever rebranded division, like an X division that they have? Why not have him do crazy matches with those people and get over that way and be their champion? Like, because he can wrestle like that.
Yeah.
They did that with Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was X division champion, and that was all TNA. That was all like Jeff Jarrett shit. Like he came up, like he's an innovator, and TNA was innovative for that time. So it's like on the surface, yeah, maybe it could seem like a reign of terror kind of thing, but I think he made the right call in the long run. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out well, and Vince Russo fucked up a lot of shit. But I think Jeff Jarrett had it's a really, really, really fucking tough like tightrope to walk with something like that and championships like that. And when you should lose the title and who you should put over and if they're ready and if they're not ready and things like that. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, and I would like add one thing because I definitely agree that I think both of them are kind of underappreciated as workers, but probably the one like, and maybe the Kane one, I mean, it was a good example, but also I think probably honestly the Booker T WrestleMania.
Oh my god, yeah,
that
the Booker
was.
Oh my god.
Ugh.
Like, do you think it was Triple H's call to make Booker T not win that match and become champion? I don't.
Not.
I really
do.
hope it wasn't. I would really think that that's probably down to Vince and the booking and the writing and stuff like that.
Whoever wrote the people like you don't get to be champion.
Yeah, like what the like, yeah, just the racial overtones and then not have Booker T win the championship is fucking disgusting. And Booker T should have been champion right there, straight up.
Yep.
So I would honestly say, so I would go as far as saying that Triple H's Reign of Terror was the worst, and not because of Triple H.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So, guys, that's our show for this week. Thank you so much for sending these questions in.